Gritaradio. Señal binaria en tus oídos.
In our space, close your eyes, this may take a while. Strap neatly in place, so you see just what we desire.
Muy buenas tardes, tengan todos ustedes. Bueno, buenos días, todavía es buenos días, disculpen. Mi nombre es Axel Barceló, esto es Estante Gritaradio y el día de hoy estoy muy contento porque tengo un invitado muy especial que va a estar presentándose en los próximos días ahí en el foro 246 y él es Seanloui. I don't know if I'm going to do it right. I am sorry.
You did
but
fine.
It was fine.
It was great.
So I'm not gonna even try again because I got it so well the first time. Welcome
Thanks
to.
so much for having me.
Well, first of all, welcome to Mexico. Had you been here before?
Yes, Mexico as a general or Mexico City?
Mexico City.
Yes, I've been here two times. Yeah, I keep thinking. Thinking it's been more, but it's been 2 times.
Yeah, you even played at the Metro, right?
I played the Metro, and then I played the cafe for Madiojo.
Oh yes.
So yeah, it's been great.
Okay, and now you're gonna be playing this weekend at
Yes.
Foro 246.
It's gonna be wild.
And it's gonna be full band.
Full band.
When you mean full band, is the band musicians from Mexico?
Yes, Mexico City, yes. I met through actually Instagram, and then people
Oh.
started connecting me, and then I say it again, Mexican people just so friendly, and they understand good music, and so when they heard the music, they were like, "Yes, let's just do it." And it's been a joy ever since.
Did they have any experience in like R&B? Because there's not a big R&B.
And they had their sheet music, were writing it out, and I was like, "That's so cool, man!" You know, I don't really read sheet music, but yeah, it was really cool, and they're all amazing musicians, and people are going to be just blown away with the music that we created together.
That actually sounds pretty cool. And it's because it's not only R&B. You have some hip hop elements. You have some rock elements. Yeah. How did you come up there? Oh yeah, that's true. So it's going to be a really good show. But now that you're talking about all these the fusions that really result in your sound, and you say you don't read you don't read music.
I can.
Okay,
no,
so.
I'm not as good as them. So yeah, so I can, if I sit down, I can read it. But as in, if you want me to sight play, it would take me a second.
Okay, so you're trained as a musician.
I know my music theory pretty really well.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
I was trained in
So
that.
how did you start playing? Why
I was actually I was adopted into a family, and they taught me music. So my patient.
Oh wow!
My mom is a well-known Christian singer, and so I grew up in a very musical home, and so from there I stepped into another musical family, and they taught me like the musical theory and like the fretboard and all the notes and all the different arpeggios and the fifths and the fourths and the seventh and minor thirds and all that stuff, and then from there I kind of took all that knowledge and created the sound.
Okay, so it's not like those very common stories like, oh, I didn't even know how to tell my parents that I want to be a musician. They really understood what it takes.
I had thought about this yesterday, and like my mom probably hates me saying this, but like she wanted me to get a trade, because like when I was like in high school, I wanted to be a musician, but like every parent wants their kids to be able to have a job, right? And so like but I still encourage people to do music because it just takes just as long as to do being an artist as to be a plumber. Like if you want to be a really good plumber, it's going to take a couple years, right, to make that money. And same with the musician. So I want to be a musician straight up. I just and my mom was like, "No, you should do this." But when she saw me play in front of my first show ever, I played at in Los Angeles with my old band. And then right away we had like 4 record deals, record deal offers. My mom was like, "Okay, like obviously like you got something, right?" And so from there, she's been supportive ever since.
But what about your reaction? I mean, when you go like, "Well, this is my first show. I mean, this music thing is easy."
No, I mean, but like there was a lot of pain, sweat, and tears that came with that. I practiced for months with the band in order to get to that point where when we played that first show, people were like, holy crap, that was amazing. So it wasn't just like I played the instrument and I just played. I practiced to this day, every morning, do my scales, make sure I'm up to par, because the idea is to be so proficient at your craft and my guitar, that it becomes fluid, that I don't have to think about it, and it's all just emotion, and that's the best kind of playing.
Okay, so how early did you start composing?
My first song was, oh my gosh, probably like 17, 18. Is a song that's Can This Be? It was online, like old school MySpace, right? Like, I'm telling you guys how old I am.
No, that's the coolest way to start. Come on.
Yeah, I put it out, and then I had my first show with my band, and we played that song, and it's very pretty. I try to find it on the internet, but I can't find it anymore. But yeah, the first song was called Can This Be? And ever since then, I started writing more music, and then I started writing for different artists, and done in LA, and then my life just kind of took off from there.
How do you decide what you're going to keep for yourself and what you can give away?
I write every single morning, and then perhaps 90 days for every quarter, I sit down and I listen to all 90 tracks, and I write out which ones I think is for me, write something for other people, and then I send this song to other artists and go, do you want this? Do you want this?
And how many of them do you actually get recorded by other artists?
From other artists? None, because I've been so focused on myself. all the songs have been for me the last like maybe like 2-3 years. But I have written some stuff from artists. I want to tell you guys names because they're not. I did a song for Beyonce maybe like 36. Oh my gosh, maybe like 7 years ago for her B-Day album. It didn't make the cut, but she has it, and they did like it. So I'm very proud of myself to at least get into the room, because most people didn't get in the room, and I got in the room. So
of course you should brag about that.
Yeah. Well, because people ask me, is the song on the album, and I'm like, no. They're like, oh, But when they said that they loved the song, that was a very special moment. 'Cause that's when I knew that like I had it. You know what I mean? I had the gift, and no one could tell me anything else.
Exactly, because that was also what I was going to ask. Because one thing is say I want to, and the other thing is to say, oh yeah, I can. Right? That's a huge difference. But then, since the beginning, were you already writing in this kind of fusion of styles, or did you start more orthodoxically R&B or more orthodoxically?
I started off with like rock and roll. So so right after that whole musical stay in LA with writing different R&B artists, I did like a whole like metal thrash.
Cool.
Yeah. I love music, man. So I was in a band called Signals, and we toured the United States like several times. And you can still find their stuff, and we get offers to do reunion tours all the time and stuff like that. But we so it was like more like thrash, more like thrice. And then from there, I took all those elements and kind of put together the feel. So it's like has that rock and roll feel, but yet my influences of LA, like R&B and Beyonce.
So LA is more. I don't know. I haven't been in LA like in
a lot of traffic, man. I wouldn't. Okay,
maybe that is why I've stayed away from LA. But really, you think you consider yourself an LA artist? You think the environment affects how you sound?
Yes, only because I'm from like I was raised in California, but I would say my music is more world music because like. Because my music is appreciated throughout the whole world. Because some artists are like, I don't like, like if you're from LA, you have a certain like R&B sound.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Someone probably in India or China or Russia or Indonesia probably wouldn't like whatever, or they put you like, oh, you're just like this. But with my music, when people ask and they try to genre-size my music, they can't put a finger on it. They'll come up with something, but it's nothing off the top of their head. They go, yes, that's what you sound like, because the music sounds like me. It's a lot of influences.
And that's done on purpose.
I think it's done organically. I just love all music. I would hate to put myself in a box to only call myself an R&B artist or call myself a indie rock artist or a pop artist, because then people go, well, then if you do something outside of that, well, then I don't want to listen to your music. You lose fans sometimes.
But on the other hand, you also have like a door open for those kind of audiences.
Exactly.
Right? So it has costs and benefits. Yeah. So then why say, I'm not going to, I'm going to reject the labels, but you still need like a foot in the door, right? You still need people to listen to you. You still need people to play with. I mean, the place where you're going to play, the club you're going to play this time. I mean, that already makes you a little bit indie, right? Because you're playing with these bands. So how do you balance both things?
I think it has to happen organically. I feel like if it doesn't come from the heart, people are going to see through that really, really quickly, and they'll go, "Oh, that's fake."
But it's also professional, right? So it's not just the heart. You need like a plan. You need your brain.
Like you're talking about like how do I market myself?
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah, and you make the decision where you're going to play, and you're coming to Mexico instead of I don't know, you're going to Venezuela or.
I try to find music lovers, and that because my music.
But they're everywhere.
Not always. No, really? No. Some people just love the fame of an artist and less of the music. if you go to, and this has happened to a lot of artists, they found out like they get really famous on TikTok. So they'll go to the fans will buy their album and go to their show, but then they only know the chorus, right? And they don't know the verses and all that stuff. An artist, Steve Lacy, found that out in his last tour. And he was singing, and people only joined him on the choruses.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah. And so you realize that like there is a distinctness of people that love music, and people that love, that just love, I wouldn't say the fame, but maybe just love catchy choruses, and that's okay. But there's a distinct, love, like Prince lovers of music, right? Because he's a musician, he plays all type of music. But you can go to someone who loves like a recent pop album right now, and ask them what song of Prince they love, and they'll just probably say Purple Rain, and that's it. And they won't even know the verses or anything like that. So,
but how do you become? I mean, that's like the goal, right? To become that kind of artist that the audience is there for the music. But how do you become that artist?
I think honestly, for me, it's been just been being strategic and finding those audiences. Like I believe with all my heart, Mexico has a high ratio of music lovers than any other country in the whole world. So let's say out of 20 people you ask, 18 love music, and 2 just go, yeah, I love whatever, right? And so what's been really special is going to those venues and finding different artists that kind of sound like me, right? That just play really music, they're genre bending, and then plugging myself in with them, connecting with them, and then taking it from there.
Do you think this genre bending has become more common lately, also because of digital access to different kind of styles?
Yes, because I think a lot of musicians are now studying music.
Oh,
right.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are, because it's easy, music now easily consumable, because you got Spotify. I can search any artist from the 1930s, and finding music, and then find something from 1940s, 50s, 60s, and completely all together and coming out with my own version. And so I feel that it's been very special. And yeah, a lot of musicians are now studying music, and I think we're a very special point of history.
But when you just talked about your influences, that was more or less stuff that you can hear on the radio, right? So like that first tier is like that. But what about the rest? I mean, how exactly?
Yeah, I have some artists. So it's a band called Toy Matinee.
Oh, nice.
They're absolutely amazing. They only released one album, 1980s. It's one of those albums that sound engineers down in LA at least they listen to make sure their studio is perfect, because the album is so well produced, it's so well engineered, it's like top of the line. Algerera.
Okay, let's start first. I have to remember. Okay, so Toy Matinee. I have to look for Toy Matinee.
Yeah, Toy Matinee.
Okay,
Algerera. I'm not saying his name right. Algeru.
Of course.
Absolutely amazing, right? Bella Fleck and the Flecktones.
Oh,
do you know them?
Yes, of course. Well, I'm old enough.
Yeah.
Remember when they were really famous?
Yeah. Victor Woods is how I started playing bass. I'm a huge fan of his.
You started easy with the easy stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. And even going down to like maybe we're like I want to say he's not famous, but I mean he's well known. But like High Tech and Khalib, the two artists, amazing artists. Man, now you're gonna have me think. And even like some other like artists like that are good. There are present day. Is a band called the Japanese House. Have you heard of her?
No, Japanese
absolutely
House.
Amazing. Yeah, she got signed to the same record label as 1975. She's toured a bunch, but her first 2 album EPs, I studied those consecutively because they're absolutely beautiful. Yeah, she's an amazing songwriter. Man, so many artists.
Would you also think you sound like you're a little of a tech head? You really care also about the sound. How
because in the sound you can see the perfection in it, like Thriller. I studied Thriller for now. I still study Thriller because you can hear that everything was done with such intention that there's nothing out of place, and it's almost like a perfect, like you line up 15 boards in one, and everything is lined up perfectly. And so you study that because you go, how did you do that? Because my boards are like this, right? So you want to make sure, I want to make sure my board is like yours. So yeah, I would say tech head, but also I am in love with perfection. And so when I hear perfection, it's hard not to gravitate and find out how did you do that.
But it cannot that also be kind of a hindrance that, okay, I'm gonna wait because no, it's not ready.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, even this last album, I'll admit this. Last album, there's like 3 or 4 things I'm going to fix. Come and release a deluxe version, right? But I knew myself, like if I stayed here and I just kept plugging away, like this album will never be released.
Exactly.
It'll never be released, right? Another thing too is that like you got to ignore like all like the Instagram and TikTok like people, you know. So many people like people. You go. I had one guy, and one of my biggest songs is called "Bad Things." It's an amazing song, guys. Take a look. Listen, it's a great album. Somebody was like, "You released this song the wrong way." Then I'm like, "Who are you?" You know. And so you got to be really, really careful and letting outside influences, you know, because otherwise, if you listen to all the influencers, you'll never release anything because everyone will have an opinion, right? And you got to just trust your gut and then release the best product that you can at that moment. And then there's always, because technology, you can always go back and redo stuff and release a remastered version and clean it up.
So that's how you convince yourself to say like, okay, I know it's not perfect, but I need to release it because I can always go back.
Yeah.
And you go back sometimes?
Yeah, that, and I always try to release music way ahead of time. So I already have music that's been recorded to the end of the year and even until next year. So it's just being proactive because you have that time to be able to sit down and really listen to an album and go, is it actually correct? You know, some people just release music all the time and do every single week, and it's not perfect, which is totally fine. But I think with me personally, it's become an issue with of always releasing music, trying to release music all every 2-3 weeks. It's better to just record a bunch of music and then sit with it, and then you listen to it, and then you know, obviously have a rollout plan and just release it.
So not an album, but still singles.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So even this album, the Danger, now it's on my fiance, but Danger was recorded last year. I finished that song last year, March. And I was in, the process is this long where I was in Italy on vacation, and I was asking the Uber driver to play my songs so I could hear it in the car so I can listen to the mix listening back. So it was in July. So and then everything else more or less last year, you know, of just plugging away, mix and mastering and all that stuff. So again, just being proactive. That's just my thing. Being proactive and releasing, recording stuff way ahead of time, so I can sit with it and make sure everything is good enough. But even then, again, find stuff. Find stuff all the time.
But you don't mind about trends like going, well, no, you know, that kind of music I wrote a year ago is no longer going to be hot in a year because, you know, what is going to be hot now is this kind of beats.
No, totally. I keep an eye on it, but I don't let trends settle what I make. Because if I'm targeting music lovers, then no matter what age you are, from 4 to 75, you're gonna love the music. You know what I'm saying? So like even like someone like Prince, they're gonna still release music, and he's probably still gonna go. He's gold. You know, he's still gonna get millions of streams because his fans are music lovers.
Okay, but then it is fans, right? So you still want people to follow you, right? Seanloui.
Yeah, and just
it's
love
not
the music,
that they just like the songs.
Yeah, and that's gonna become really hard because because of now, especially now, because now people because music is now so consumable that you can just have your song in a playlist and people listen to it and then forget about you and they say, "Oh, good song, thank you."
Or go like, "Yeah, I mean, I've heard it so many times because it's in my playlist, but I don't even remember who played it exactly."
Yeah, very dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. So, how do you try to avoid that? Or you just go like, "Well, yeah, that's now the nature of the game."
I've actually avoided playlists. This is like the first marketing rollout that I've actually avoided playlists because I realized that the fans that were or the people that were consuming the music at that level were just consuming it passively, like it, you know, whatever. And so I've focused more on like shows. And then just introducing myself to, you know, the world just through Instagram, social media content, and doing stuff like this.
Okay, so why Mexico? Sorry.
Yeah, because because of the highest ratio of music lovers.
But how did you know that?
Okay, I played here. So,
then what about the first time?
The first time it was 15 years ago. I played in Tijuana, and that's when I realized, at that age, that like music love, you know, they love music. So then my mom lives in Tecate, so I come down to Mexico all the time, and then I play in Hermosillo. And then that's when I really realized
Hermosillo audiences are awesome. I mean, awesome. That region has really great music.
I can't say enough. They have some amazing music. Surig has an album. He's an amazing artist. Look him up. It's SUGICH. His album is coming out and or just released, and he's an artist for sure to watch
from Hermosillo.
From Hermosillo, yeah. He did an album release party in Mexico City, and he got packed out.
Of course,
he's amazing.
I mean, we know that Sonora is going to bring like really amazing art. I don't know what's in the water. I went there, I drank it, and I still don't make wonderful music.
Good beer too, guys. Make sure you check out their beer.
Maybe that's what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what can we expect from your show this Saturday?
All of like the hits, bad things, danger, and then playing just really cool musical experience. There won't be a time where you'll go like look at your watch or all that stuff. It's gonna be very, very engaging because we have great musicians like myself, and of course the other musicians as well. And the overall show, all the other bands are great too. So like it's gonna be a show you cannot miss.
Okay, what is your primary instrument?
Now it's tough. Like but live.
But let's start with live, and then for composing.
Live, I do solo. I have my loop. I do my loop. It's like I'm self-contained, and then live with the band, I have my electric guitar.
Cool.
And then before that, bass player. And then even before that, I play drums as well.
And right now, you compose on the guitar, you compose on the computer.
I play on piano. So I'm actually a piano. I can play piano really well, pretty well. I'm not. People may be like, "Oh, play me something." No. I know my theory enough to where I can do my thing. So what am I saying? I'm pretty good. So yeah, I can jam. I can jam out. Right? Confidence, guys. Confidence. I can jam out. So I usually will write on the piano and then take it to like the producer. But there's been occasions where I've written stuff on a guitar, like Bad Things was written on the guitar. I think that's actually it on the last album. But yeah.
Cool. But then you say that you're constantly composing. So that means like even here while you're traveling today, you compose.
Yeah. So I'm going to go home today and I'm going to go write a song because the idea is to never stop working on the craft. Who was doing that? Oh my gosh, Seanloui. I know the artist, but there's a famous artist that talked about, Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton talked about she writes every single day. She's writing every single day since the day she started. And the song, I Will Always Love You. That song. Yeah. She wrote that song. And I forgot another song she wrote, but she wrote both those songs, their major hits in one day because it keeps coming out. Ed Sheeran found that as well. He's another artist that writes every single day, and you can hear in their music they write hits. And so I took that same process, and that's how the song "I'm So in Love with You's come out. Right Back Again, Angel Girl, all that stuff has come out because I just kept writing and did not stop. I said, like, I have some really bad songs, guys.
Of course, yeah,
awful songs. But then you like, that I tell you, like, I review every 90 days, so I get like a full week of bad songs, and all of a sudden the next week is like boom, 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 hits, right? And those come on the autumn.
When the song is going out bad, you finish it.
When it goes out,
when it's not going well. I mean, so you're working on a song and you go like, it's not as good as it should be. You still finish it?
I only write a verse and a chorus. All right, chorus in full production. Good. So for those two, because then from there, if I like the melody and like the production, then I can just duplicate it out, right, and then add in my flair and chorus add the trends, if you will, that make the song sound modern. So yes, and that makes it quicker. But even that, sometimes those verse and choruses, I've written those and taken all day, man. Because you have those writer's block. So yeah,
good. But I like asking about that because I don't write songs, right? But I'm surprised. A lot of people say that. Actually, a lot of people tell you, it's discipline. It's a job. It's my job. I have to sit down and write. It doesn't matter what comes out because eventually something's going to come out.
Always,
and it's always going to be much better than you thought once you give it a new listen and you give it a polishing. Okay, so is there anything else that you think is left unsaid that people from Mexico you want to know about your show and about yourself?
Stay tuned. This is going to be an amazing show. And then I have more music coming out, and I'll be here for sure. This is going to be a home base for myself. I love Mexico City.
Good.
And people are here so welcoming, and I'm very grateful to be a guest here.
Okay, so when you're saying like stay tuned, what can we expect? Like what kind of artist you're going to be in 10 years?
Oh man, I will be one of the biggest artists in Mexico for sure, hands down.
That's important. Okay, so if you're a hipster, you have to go this Saturday, so you can say you were there for the second visit in Mexico. You can even brag that you were the first time, maybe you weren't, but at least you know how the story went this time. Yeah, that's true. How did your first visit to Mexico City? went?
It was so good. I really did a press tour. I don't remember actually the full day. My days now just blurred into one major year. But yeah, it went so well. By the way, if you go to the show, the first 30 people get a T-shirt and they get a Polaroid with me, signed Polaroid. So another incentive to come to the show.
Do you have the T-shirt here to show?
Oh no, not with me, but it's we have the thing. Sorry guys.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah. But it's really cool. If you go to my website, it's the white one with my logo, with the rose logo on it.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Having me.
This is this has been great. I learned a lot about you. That was very, very interesting. And I'm looking forward also for the show on Saturday. And stay tuned. This is we have to still wait for our producer because because she's a little absent. So we still have to. Why is this your only show in Mexico City?
No, this will be my only show. There'll be other shows coming up
good.
soon. I don't want to announce them yet, but
they
I'm going to be touring with other artists in Mexico.
How long are you staying in Mexico City this time?
I'm going to leave Sunday because I got to go to Bogota, Colombia.
Nice.
I have some shows out there, and then I'm going to circle back to come back here. And then again, I'm going to be touring with some really cool artists.
Oh, okay. So
and I don't want to give the name out, but it's going to be awesome.
Have you already been in Colombia?
No, it'll be my first time, so it'll be like So I have a couple of TV appearances, and then I'm playing some record store shows. Again, just targeting music lovers, people who love music. It's gonna be so fun.
Do you still buy records physically?
I do, but not so much right now because it costs a lot of money. but I do. Like my latest record was from an artist in Canada, Montreal. Gionia, and she is absolutely amazing. You guys take a look at her. I played a show with her in Phoenix. I flew out from Phoenix in Mexico, from Mexico to Phoenix to play the show with her, and she's amazing. It's another really cool artist named Archie. She's from Seattle. But she's an amazing pop artist. Yeah, so I still buy vinyls, and I buy a lot of old school vinyl. So like I bought stuff from like the Temptations again because I'm trying to study how
those records are.
Perfect. And it's just good to just stay tuned with stay in tune with what has been released in the past because the history always repeats itself.
Yeah, that's very, very, very important. I mean, it's difficult because we also have so many live artists that right now are doing so much interesting stuff, and it's very hard to keep a balance with, especially when we're recommending music for the people who are listening to the shows. I want to go like, oh, you remember there was this '90s band in the underground somewhere in South America. You should remember that they existed, but also there are like a dozen great albums coming out this month. And how do you keep a balance?
It's hard. I always now do this thing where I will go ask random people like what music you listen to right now, because then I can stay in touch with what's happening. But then I will, when I wake up, I have like my library and just play, and then I put like a radio, and that's how I get introduced with old school music and some obviously new school
and
stuff.
Can you still listen in a less analytic way, right? Can you still listen just for enjoyment? You're always like, oh yeah, how did they do that? I can take that idea. That was great.
With modern music, I'm analyzing them because I'm seeing a lot of like, it's like say music always repeats itself, and so we're in this area of remixes. So a lot of artists are taking old tunes. Yeah, I'm putting it into new one, and so it's interesting because it's still being consumed. But then you hear about them when they tour, they can't sell out a show, right? So you have how can you have billions of streams because they're targeting only passive listeners, So it's just interesting. I still enjoy a person put out an amazing album that no skips is SZA. Like she doesn't miss. Another artist I actually dived back into recently is Kendrick Lamar. Very, very absolutely. But like their albums and their producers, just like it's unreal with their stuff. Another artist is called Six Lack. His name is Black, but it's spelled Lack. Who doesn't miss as well. So yeah, I still
don't know that one.
Yeah, it's a really good artist. Again, it's hard sometimes not to analyze it, but those are artists that you can just appreciate their music. It's so beautiful. But I would say like stuff that comes out in like top 40, I analyze it because you go. Like, oh, there's a lot of money behind that song. The song's not good. It's just
we need to make a living, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. And not hating, but just how it's music business. So
exactly. And the same thing happens when you catch an act live. You're also like, that works well. Yeah, that I like how they adapted this thing, how they're handling the audience, things like that.
Yes, like I saw John Mayer recently, his solo show, and I didn't analyze his music so much, but I analyzed his transitions.
Exactly.
His transitions were beautiful, in a sense of like he reminded people of his journey of where he was at, and then said like, "Thank you so much." He always repeated, "Thank you so much for still being here after all these years. You guys saw me on the screen. I was a knucklehead kid, and now I'm here. I'm a refined adult, and I'm still playing music, and I'm playing music because you guys are here, and I think that's very special." So I definitely took notes on that because 10 years from now, I'm going to be the exact same place, but I'll be inside, this, big arena, and I'm going to be like, thank you guys again so much for coming. And so it's good to remind people of the story that you have, but they're also that they were part of that journey.
Have you tried passing that knowledge also to like younger artists? Because you talk a lot about learning from other people, especially from older generation and from more famous artists. But have you tried to also pass it like downwards, downstream, or whatever?
Yes, I used to do this thing through like a festival down in Tucson, Arizona. What is hard sometimes is that a lot of the artists they have stuff that they want to do, and so I try to impart into some information to them, but sometimes I feel like people think it's coming across as an ego thing when reality is coming across as an informational thing, and sometimes when people get good information, they do terrible things with it. So it's been a very good learning experience on that, and I've had a great experience with the Black Renaissance doing that festival and imparting into the new artists out there, and sharing them with the knowledge of how to how to work with a live band, because some of them never worked with a live band before, and I think that's really special. So I wouldn't say it's hard. I would say that I'm not being at my age. I'm not being a lot more selective, because some people only want to do this music thing as a hobby, and like
that's okay.
And totally okay. Other people want to do it as a lifestyle, and I'm trying to make sure that I am in line with myself with people that want to make it a lifestyle.
Oh, that's very interesting. This has also been a debate that in Mexico has been going a lot. I mean, really a lot of because of the spaces are so limited, right? So people are like, I don't like this hobbyist coming and playing at the same club. I mean, what we're doing is so different, and so it's interesting to see what your take is. Like, for example, when you chose the bands you're going to play, the bands you were going to tour with, you make sure that they are also in it for life,
for the long haul. Yeah, at least I look at what they've done in the last 5 years and go, okay, well, if they're still doing this, then they look 10, 15 years ahead. Then they're going to be good, because the decision making skills, what they make now, is not going to harm you. You know what I mean? Like if you go on a tour with somebody, some artists will just quit, right? I don't want to play this tour anymore, and they get upset or they cause drama. And if you're an artist that is of longevity, then the piece that you have on tour is going to be so evident, And so I want to be in line with those artists, because that's what you do.
Yeah, it's just different way of approaching music as a profession, that music the music can sound similar, right? It's not that there's only one way of doing good music, but being a musician means something completely different. In each of these two fields.
But I still think everyone should get involved in music. Like hobbyists should have a place in this world, because they bring something to the table that sometimes musicians, we get so in line, we're running and someone comes in and starts skipping, and they're getting farther. Then you go, how are you skipping? They're like, oh, I just like doing it. And you learn something, and then you're skipping too. So I don't want to not say that I don't talk to people who are hobbyists, but I just for longevity, you want to hang out with people that are in it for the long haul, because you want to make sure that you are in line with what's happening too, and et cetera, so forth.
Exactly, because I mean, bands don't become famous alone, right? So it's always with a community, with a scene. It's with building an audience for the kind of sound you're doing. So you always need to have a good relationship with other bands, with other promoters. It's when you see a band that at least one song, it is because there was a lot of people there also. It was just, I don't want to say behind, because it's actually more of a horizontal thing, right?
Yeah.
It is because they were in the audience, because they were backstage, because they were opening bands and they opened for other bands. And this is something that has to be cultivated, but it also has to be selective.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are, I don't want to sound like negative, but
they don't want it as much, and that's okay.
Exactly, but they build their community links different. Yeah, right. Because also hobbyists have very good communities.
Yes. But it's different. Yeah, a ton of people that just do it for fun, and they have a ginormous community, and again, if they're skipping and they're going farther, take notes. Don't, we all learn from each other. I think that's very special, which is why I love music so much.
I also remember somebody told me that people who know less than you, a lot of times dare to do things wrong that sometimes because of what you wouldn't try.
Yeah.
Right. So that's also why a lot of people who know learn a lot from people who actually don't know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good point to finish. I think that's a good moral. And thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna try again. Seanloui.
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is Axel Barceló. This is Gritaradio. Remember, Saturday 40246. Be there or be square.
See you guys there.
In this outer space, close your eyes. This may take a while.